What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports, and we're going to be, NHL free agency is opening up in another 15 minutes or so. So this is going to be a nice, little hangout, session here to discuss, some Flyers talk and everything like that. And right now, a lot of things are a little bit skeptical just because of the entire situation going on right now, like right before free agency starts. A lot of rumors about Johnny Gaudreau, a lot of rumors saying that it's between the Devils and the Flyers right now. I have no idea what's going to happen. I've been hearing rumors back and forth, basically stuff that I'm just hearing from different little things. That's really right now. My thoughts are skeptical. I don't know what's going to happen. Right now, you basically just have to wait and see what is going to go down and stuff like that. We've seen from Anthony Sanfilippo and stuff like that, that maybe Johnny Gaudreau could possibly, wait for the Flyers to make a move or something like that. And everything is depending on the Flyers if they can move that JVR contract or not. Where I do have a lot of thoughts on that entire situation. That kind of does frustrate me if, something doesn't go down like that. And then, the entire situation with the Tony DeAngelo thing regarding to, Ryan Ellis's health, and most likely he's not going to be playing next year, and then basically for going back to even the JVR move, tying it to Johnny Gaudreau, you also buy out Oskar Lindblom's contract, which you save his entire salary. Like, there's a lot of things to discuss here in regards to the Flyers possibly going after Johnny Gaudreau right here. So we got a little bit until the trade deadline, not the trade deadline, NHL free agency opens up. And, there have been some signings. There are some trades in the rumor mill that are being discussed right now. So we'll get into that as well as basically the hours go ahead. I'm not sure how long this stream is going to be. It's going to be a nice hangout. Just, go through maybe the first couple of hours of free agency just to see if there's any big signings to start off. There have been some big signings, some players re-signing with teams. So there's a lot to discuss here. So before we get into literally all this stuff, before we hang out here, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports. If you are new to the channel, I definitely recommend you hitting that subscribe button if you're looking for all the latest Philadelphia sports news, recaps, and events. This is the place to be at, depending on the outcome, great or miserable, depending on the outcome. And if you are a current viewer of the channel, I am grateful for you being here that long and looking to continue that down the road. And if you're looking for tickets, upcoming sporting events, concerts, whatever you can think of, use the code TTP Sports down below for $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. Get yourself a ticket to any event you could possibly think of. The $20 avoids the fees and processing and everything like that. Use it for parking, concessions, anything you can think of. It's a great deal. Don't pass it up. Use the code TTP Sports, $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek today. So right now, basically, the gigantic elephant in the room is going to be if the Flyers can possibly try to land Johnny Gaudreau at the start of free agency. Like I said, I've been hearing things back and forth, and a lot of the rumors that are going on right now, it's between the Flyers and the Devils, and some say that it could be, the Devils are the favorite or betting favorite to land Johnny Gaudreau right now, obviously because the Devils do have a ton of cap space in their, cap right now, and the Flyers are still trying to clear that cap, and they did clear some of it, buying out the Oskar Lindblom contract. And just to get into that entire situation, I love Oskar Lindblom for everything that he has gone through. Like, basically, for what any human being could have gone through in that time. Like, being diagnosed with cancer, doing everything, going through the treatments, overcoming the entire situation, and then coming back for the bubble playoffs to play in a couple of games in that second round, and just doing everything that he did. He was an absolute soldier, and he battled through everything. And I appreciate Oskar Lindblom, and I love him for doing everything like that. But when you come down to the business side of everything, this is a move that had to be done because Oskar Lindblom was making $3 million on the cap, and maybe that probably wasn't, a little bit enticing to any teams for a trade because he is a guy. Granted, yes, he was coming off of all the treatments and the cancer diagnosis and everything like that, so obviously he wasn't going to be playing up to par. But his stats over the past couple of years, if you're looking at a business side of everything, wasn't up to par with the money that he was making. And the Flyers made a very difficult decision to clear that cap. So you're going to be saving the entire cap hit from Oskar Lindblom, buying him out. So this season you won't be getting charged anything on the cap from Oskar Lindblom, but I do believe next year you're going to get charged like I think like 600K on the cap or something like that. It's something very, very minimal. And then so yeah, A lot of people, of course, yeah, because when you're coinciding to the Tony DeAngelo thing, there was an article on Charlie O'Connor posted about, okay, oh, why would you buy out Oskar Lindblom and then turn around signing, a Tony DeAngelo? Because Ryan Ellis can't play. The only reason you acquire Tony DeAngelo is because Ryan Ellis is not going to be playing. That is obvious what is going to happen because they still don't know what is wrong with him. All the injuries that he has had going back to last season, he played in only, 4 or 5 games. They still don't know what's wrong with him. He's most likely going to be LTIR'd the entire season. I don't expect him to play at all this year. So it's just that's why you get Tony DeAngelo. Yeah, it is frustrating that you have 4 guys on your defensive core that is making over $5 million, but the Ryan Ellis contract becomes null and void when you put him on LTIR because that cap is going to come up the books. So, yes, you get Tony DeAngelo, and I understand the baggage that comes with Tony DeAngelo. I get it. I'm not telling people how to think. I don't agree with what Tony DeAngelo has done. I think it's, horrible what he did in the past, all the things that he has said. But when I look at it at face value, I do believe Tony DeAngelo is a good defenseman in this league and can definitely help out this, offense specifically. Yeah, definitely not the best defensive defenseman. I see people trying to compare it. Oh, Shane Gostisbehere was a better 10 times the defenseman that Tony DeAngelo is. Tony DeAngelo shits on Shane Gostisbehere. Shits on him. Shane Gostisbehere is putting up points for a team that is playing in a college arena this year. For a team that has no direction whatsoever. Yeah, you could say that about the Flyers, but the Arizona Coyotes have had no direction in their entire franchise history. None whatsoever. He is putting up points for a bottom feeder team that does not deserve to be in the National Hockey League in Arizona. So there is no comparison whatsoever to Tony DeAngelo and Shane Gostisbehere whatsoever. I'm not telling people how to feel about it. You have the right to hate Tony DeAngelo. I get that, everything. But I'm not going to judge my opinion based on everything like that. I look at the hockey team at face value. So if I'm looking at the roster right here, that is basically what I'm looking at. Yes, buying out Oskar Lindblom sucks. It's the PR move for that instance is goddamn horrible. From a business side of point, you had to do it. You just had to do it. And moving JVR's contract, going to this discussion of an aggressive retool, because the Flyers have been stating aggressive retool for like the past basically, year and a half at this point. Well, going back to this season basically, or this past season, they've been screaming aggressive retool. And you go out, you trade those draft picks to acquire Tony DeAngelo's rights, and you do sign him. Granted, yes, the draft picks are a year, separated from each other. It was a 4th round pick from this year, a 3rd round pick from next year, and a 2nd round pick in 2024, I believe. So, but in the idea, you do trade 3 draft picks to acquire Tony DeAngelo's rights in order to sign him. Now, there's rumors spilling about, but obviously the Flyers are trying to get rid of JVR's contract, which is an obvious thing they were going to do. But now it's rumored that, with all the rumors circling around Johnny Gaudreau wanting to come to Philadelphia, we all know this. He's been wanting to play in Philadelphia his entire career, and Philadelphia is definitely going to be his first choice when it came to free agency. So, teams with the Flyers and their cap situation were going to try to move that JVR contract. They were going to ask a little more to try to screw the Flyers over. But if you're in this aggressive retool state, there's a lot of rumors swirling about that it's the 2024 first-round pick from the Gaudreau trade from the Florida Panthers. If that's the pick that you're trying to get rid of, if you're aggressively retooling, I'm making that trade 100% of the day. If I'm trying to get rid of JVR, screw the Florida draft pick, honestly, because that draft pick 1 is most likely going to be in the late 20s, maybe near 30s at that point, where Florida's going in their franchise right now with the way how good they are. And a 2024 draft pick, especially in the late first round, you're most likely not going to see that prospect 2 to 3 years, 4 years down the line. So if you're really that hesitant on trading a 2024 draft pick, why would you do all that stuff to acquire Tony DeAngelo? Why would you buy Oskar Lindblom? Why are you being so hesitant to trade the JVR contract? Are you that afraid to trade a 2024 first-round draft pick? That is the question mark. And then I also saw a rumor that it could possibly be the Flyers' first-round draft pick from 2024, not the Florida pick. I'd still do it. Because that is a draft that is 2 years down the line, and we have no idea what that draft is going to be like. Seriously. If you have a chance to go out and get a guy that wants to play in Philadelphia, that is a local kid, it's going to be a fantastic business decision because you know how empty the Wells Fargo Center was last year. Signing a local product kid who is a star in the National Hockey League is going to help fans come to the arena. It'll get fans excited to go see Johnny Gaudreau. It'll be a great business decision because people will buy tickets, they will buy jerseys, they will buy merchandise, etc., and stuff like that. So you can't go soft when it comes to acquiring Johnny Gaudreau. You cannot do that if you're Chuck Fletcher. If you somehow miss out on Johnny Gaudreau and he ends up going to the New Jersey Devils, I will be pissed. I will be very critical of Chuck Fletcher because that is a failure if you missed out on trying to land Johnny Gaudreau because you were afraid to trade JVR's contract along with a Florida first-round pick because that shouldn't be put away from the question mark because you're aggressively retooling. Now, does Johnny Gaudreau make this team instantly a contender? No, I am not saying that whatsoever. But I'm also in the minority that doesn't believe that the Flyers are as bad as people are saying. Where you see on Twitter right now, yes, it is a very bad time right now in the Flyers organization just because of how bad they have been the past couple of seasons. I still don't believe this team is that bad. When you have granted, injuries were part of why the team was so bad last year, and a lot of players were playing very bad hockey. The Sean Couturier injury, is he going to be healthy this year? Same thing with Kevin Hayes. Is he going to be healthy this year? You don't know about the Ryan Ellis situation. He's most likely not going to play next year. Who's going to be playing with Ivan Provorov? Is it going to be Tony DeAngelo? Who's going to be playing on that bottom pairing, possibly with Cam York? What is your forward core going to look like? Johnny Gaudreau gives you something to build your structure around as well. And I don't believe everyone on this roster is as bad as people say they are. I do believe Sean Couturier is still a good top 2 center in this league. Same thing with Kevin Hayes. Because when we saw a healthy Kevin Hayes last year, you're like, okay, Kevin Hayes, when he's healthy, can look really good. Now you come to the question mark of Travis Konecny as well. There's still a lot of question marks about Travis Konecny, and I believe that, this is the final straw with Travis Konecny this year. Could he be traded this offseason, or would this year be the final straw if Konecny doesn't find a way to rebound? That is a question mark as well. Same thing with Ivan Provorov. There's still a lot of question marks about this Flyers team. Johnny Gaudreau doesn't make the team an instant contender, but it gives you a foundation to build around. There's something right there. So now we are, 3 minutes away from the free agency mark. I haven't refreshed Twitter in a while, so hopefully I can find a way to, see some things right here. So before we get into, everything else when the free agency starts, that's in 2 minutes actually, let's go over some of the signings that have already happened. Team players that are re-signing with teams and everything like that. So let's go to some major signings, okay? So we get the Phil Forsberg re-signing with the Nashville Predators, 8 years, a $68 million salary. That's a cap hit of $8.5 million a year. You see Nichushkin get a big signing with the Colorado Avalanche, 8 years, $49 million. Rickard Rakell resigns in Pittsburgh, 6 years, $30 million. That's a cap hit of $5 million. Evgeny Malkin, all the reports were saying he was going to hit free agency, but he does end up re-signing with the Pittsburgh Penguins, 4 years, $24 million at a cap hit of 6.1. You also saw Letang re-signing with Pittsburgh for 6 years, so they're keeping that core together. Evander Kane re-signs with the Edmonton Oilers, 4 years, $20.5 million at the cap hit of 5.13. Then looking at some of the other signings, Josh Manson is re-signing with the Colorado Avalanche, 4 years, $18 million. And then if you're looking at some of the trades that have happened, you saw Cam Talbot going to the Ottawa Senators, Matt Murray going to the Toronto Maple Leafs. You see the Eric Hall trade for Pavel Zacha and all that stuff. There's also reports that Ilya Samsonov could be going to the Toronto Maple Leafs because the Capitals didn't qualify his offer, so he becomes an unrestricted free agent. So there's a lot of things to talk about there. Definitely a lot of things. So very close to free agency, actually. A minute away. And I'm not seeing any rumors right now, which is kind of, Okay, here we go. Oh boy, we got John Buccigross saying that doesn't look good for Johnny G in Philadelphia. Oh boy. Let's see. Anything else going on here? I see some guys that are in the chat right now. It would be disappointing. Boomer says it would be disappointing if Johnny Hockey really wanted to sign here and we can't pull it off. Yes, I would be very upset. EJW, how are you doing, man? I haven't heard from you in a while. He does more than this is talking about Tony DeAngelo. He does more than Ghost does physically and chatter on the ice. He is sure JVR would have gone first before Oskar, but the JVR contract is horrible. That's the thing. Teams are willing to take JVR. They're asking for a lot in return. There are teams that are willing to get JVR here. Okay, it is 12 p.m. It is officially the start of free agency. So a lot of things. Oh, here we go. First big signing of the day. Well, big signing of the free agency marketing opening. The Edmonton Oilers have agreed to terms with free agent goaltender Jack Campbell for 5 years, $5 million. Oh boy, Edmonton got their goaltender. That is a big signing for Edmonton right there. They finally are going away from the carousel of Koskinen and Mike Smith. They got their goaltender for long term in Jack Campbell. So that's a big signing for Edmonton. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh boy, it does so. John Buccigross is saying they can't make it work. Oh boy, this doesn't. Now we're getting really close to it. Most likely looking like Johnny Gaudreau might not be signing with the Philadelphia Flyers. Oh boy, 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 oh boy. Anything else that's going on right here? Anything else? Okay, that's just talking about Johnny Gaudreau and everything like that. Oh, here we go. Frank Zirabelli here in the Leafs have agreed to terms with Ilya Samsonov on a 1-year deal worth $1.8 million. So they're most likely going to be a tandem with Matt Murray and oh boy. Source from Sam Carchidi: the Flyers are not willing to deal a number 1 pick to move James Van Riemsdyk. That is embarrassing. That is. Oh, here we go. Here's another big signing right here. Everything is falling down. Everything is falling down. Pierre LeBrun just posted. Claude Giroux agrees to a 3-year deal with the Ottawa Senators, $6.5 million AAV. That's a huge signing. That is a huge signing right there. Claude Giroux going back home to Ottawa. Let's see. David Perron's on the Islanders' radar. There's also a rumor that Brett Burns could be traded to the Carolina Hurricanes. They're just waiting for Brett Burns to possibly show if everything happens right there. Let's see. Yeah, Claude Giroux's going home. He's got a lot of money, though. $6.5 million a year. That is interesting. That is interesting. Ian Cole with the that with the Lightning. Claude Giroux. Everyone's reacting to the Claude Giroux signing. Ottawa's going to be a surprisingly decent team this year, I feel. I kind of have that feeling they will be. They are building something in Ottawa. What else? I see some other things right here. Johnny B. Good says putting Ellis on long-term reserve plus buying out Lindblom free with the money we need to sign Johnny. We don't need to be under the cap until the first. Yeah, exactly. You don't need to. You can be 10% above the cap during the offseason. You have to be cap compliant when opening night happens. The Flyers can go over the cap to sign Johnny, and putting Ellis on LTIR gives them around $6.2 million on the cap as well. Ellis will be designated to LTIR just before the season starts. He has a $6.4 million cap hit that comes off the books, plus the $3.3 million with Lindblom gives us Johnny money. That's exactly how it works. Like, yes, you can make the signing for Johnny Gaudreau without trading James Van Riemsdyk. It is possible. It is very possible. Yeah, Claude Giroux going to Ottawa. That's basically the biggest signing right now. Great show. Yes, if you can get Johnny, you go get him. I care less about the 2024 draft. Exactly. Gita Descends is definitely kind of I feel like that was the worst kept secret in the world. Claude Giroux was most likely going back home to Ottawa. With all the rumors that were circling around what happened between him and Chuck Fletcher during the trade deadline last season, most likely he was going back to Ottawa. That's what I just saw. Most likely was expecting to happen. Yeah, 3-year deal for Claude Giroux worth $6.5 million annually. What is that? How much? Jeez. Devils, Brendan Smith have agreed to a 2-year deal. Just looking here. Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Nothing big yet. I don't think Johnny Gaudreau's gonna sign instantly, because there have been reports that he's trying to let the Flyers get time to shed salary. I've heard that rumor out there too. Right now, the rumors are circling between him and the Devils. Let's see. Someone saying that Marchment can go to Carolina. He's in Marchment. Hmm. Anthony DeMarco says he's not sure what's going on, but he does sound like the Flyers are trying to make something happen. I'm not sure if that means going for Johnny Gaudreau, trying to trade JVR or something like that. It's interesting. Anthony DeMarco is for the fourth period. He has some sources going back, back and forth with Jason Martinez and Anthony Sanfilippo as well. So kind of can have some trust with Anthony DeMarco. Yeah, the Johnny Gaudreau thing is not going to happen insanely fast. It's not going to be an instant decision. I think it's going to take some time for Johnny. But I'm not surprised that Drew went to Ottawa, but I'm like surprised it happened that quickly. I guess it was just he just wanted to go home because he's from Ottawa. His wife's from Ottawa. They have a house up there when they go in the off season, so he just wanted to go home. That's basically it. Wonder what's going on. Sorry for the quietness. I'm just trying to see anything else happening right here. Anything else? Anything else? And free agency, of course, Jack Campbell and Nicole Drew just got updated. Okay, so Claude Drew is 3 years, $19.5 million. Jack Campbell, 5 years, $25 million. Those are the big signings currently. Brett Burns trade still in the works right now. Jack Campbell, Edmonton. Run on TSN says the Devils and the Islanders are contenders for Gaudreau. As well, Ottawa, all that stuff. And a lot of the guys on Hockey Buzz, I know Hockey Buzz is not like the biggest, trustful source and everything like that. They still believe that Gaudreau heads up in Philadelphia, but Justin Schultz to Seattle, 2x3. Gotta sneeze. Oh boy. Long live stream. You're gonna be seeing a lot of sneezes. Just refreshing Twitter. That's basically the entire topic right here. Oh boy. Nothing else on the trade tracker, I'm assuming. Yeah, nothing really is gonna happen in regards to everything right here. So we got, the Indian Samsonov signing. I also have NHL on the TV right here. Ilya Mikheyev. Anything here? Come on. We need some juice. We need some juice. We had some signings here. We saw Jack Campbell. We saw Claude Giroux. We need some good signings here. We need something big. Something big. Oh boy. Okay, so there's a couple dominoes falling. Really nothing big right here so far, besides Claude Giroux and Jack Campbell, really. I'm looking at the Flyers cap space currently. Flyers, after the Lindblom buyout, they have $3.45 million in cap space. Like I said, they can go over the cap 10% above the cap threshold. During the offseason, they have to be cap compliant when the season starts. Right now, you have Kevin Hayes, of course, on his contract, JVR with a year left if you don't trade him. Cam Atkinson with 3 years left on his deal of 5.8. Krebs Konechny making 5.5. Joel Farabee's contract starts this year, but he's not going to start the season on time. I wonder if he goes on LTIR. Scott Laughton has 4 years left at $3 million. Bobby Brink has 2 years left on his entry level, but he is injured now. Noah Cates has 1 year left. Patrick Brown has 1 year left. You still have Morgan Frost this time, but I think they did qualify an offer to him. Same thing with Glenn Tippett. Zach McEwen is an RFA. Defensive wise, you have Ivan Provorov at 6.75. Ristolainen at 5.1. Tony DeAngelo now at $5 million. Sanheim at 4.675. Cam York. You have Nick Sealer, who resigned for 2 years very cheap. You do have Ronnie Attard, Carter Hart. And there's question marks here, definitely. Let's see. St. Louis Blues have a 4-year deal in place to keep defenseman Nick Leddy working. That's it. They're working on the AAV right now. Samson Elf official in Toronto. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, why is Chuck Fletcher so just why is he so hesitant to move a draft pick, to move JVR? That's what I don't understand. If I go to let me go to Philadelphia Flyers, just look at their trades over the past couple of years. Why is he so hesitant to move a draft pick? That's what I don't understand. Where's the Buffalo trade at? Unless this is going to Gosses there, Jake Voracek. Weird, they don't even have the freaking Ristolainen trade on here. That's weird. But if you're willing to move 2 draft picks to trade Shane Gostisbehere, you trade a first-round draft pick to acquire Rasmus Ristolainen. You trade 3 draft picks to get Tony DeAngelo. Why are you so hesitant to trade a draft pick to get rid of JVR? Why are you so hesitant? I don't understand. I just don't understand. I really don't understand that standpoint here. There's no other rumors popping up here either. Baseball news in regards to who the Phillies are playing. The Toronto Blue Jays just fired their manager. That's surprising after they won a game. I know they've been on a very bad stretch, so that's weird. Columbus has signed their draft pick, David Jiricek, to an entry-level contract. Is there any other rumors out here? Any other rumors? Rick Pietro just said on the point, if the Islanders sign Johnny Gaudreau, he will streak around the studio naked. Call Drew again. People complaining. It's just weird. It's really weird right now. The ESPN Plus free agency broadcast is dunking on Fletcher and the Flyers for going after DeAngelo before landing Johnny Gaudreau. Yeah, that could be a question mark right there. Definitely could be a question mark. This is just annoying. Can we get some juicy details here? And just, like, I will be very upset if Johnny Gaudreau doesn't end up here, but right now it's looking very skeptical that even if he does come to Philadelphia at this point, because Chuck Fletcher is so hesitant on trading a draft pick to get rid of JVR's contract, where I said this before, if you are aggressively retooling a draft pick to get rid of JVR's contract to clear the cap should not be out of the question. It just shouldn't be. Why are you so worried about a 2024 draft pick if that's the case? Chuck Fletcher most likely won't be here to make that draft pick. He most likely won't. Because if the Flyers stuck out of the gate coming out of this season, Chuck Fletcher is most likely going to get fired. That's what I'm just guessing here. This is not on any speculation or anything. I'm just guessing at that point. Because the franchise is in such a bad spot that really, right now, every move that the Flyers do make is considered a bad move. Fans are they're in a bad spot right now, like I said. Fans are rightfully frustrated with this franchise. Rightfully frustrated. What else? Like, seriously, I think of if I go to the Brett Burns contract, because that's also something. Look, if I go to San Jose, look at their cap space. Not their cap space, just look at Brett Burns' contract. So if I look at Brett Burns' contract, he makes $8 million for 3 more years. He makes $8 million for 3 more years. JVR makes $7 million for 1 year. Why does it sound like Brett Burns' contract is easier to move than JVR's? That is ridiculous. That is completely ridiculous. And that is downright embarrassing. That Brett Burns can be moved, but not JVR. Darren Drager just posted that a series of club calls have begun with those pitching for Nazem Kadri. ESPN just said Johnny was texting friends saying he is going to the Flyers. This is criminal knowledge and sell the team. Vancouver signs Curtis Lazar for 3 years. That's not even a big signing. What else? What else is going on here? Is there anything that is big? Any rumors? Come on, I need a big rumor. I need a juicy detail rumor here. EJW says Fletcher will be fired if he doesn't make this deal. Johnny will make the Flyers better by himself. Johnny is young, not like you're giving up draft pick for a 38-year-old player. Exactly. Yeah, Johnny Gaudreau is 29, but he's still in the midst of his prime, basically. Hell, when Paul Holmgren was the general manager in 2007, he signed a 29-year-old Danny Briere, and look what that did for the franchise. Granted, he made a lot of other moves. He went to get Scott Hartnell, Keeman Feeman, and all those other moves and stuff like that. I don't think the Flyers are in that same position that they were in 2007, but you understand what I mean. What else? I'm just trying to see if anything's going down here. I gotta send some text messages. Gotta send. Let's see. Just sending some text messages around just to see if there's anything else that's happening. Yeah, like, seriously, I don't feel like the Fly I would love them to try. At the end of the day, I don't think that JVR is going to be on this team, regardless. I don't think that's going to happen. But right now, technically, they don't have to trade JVR in order to sign Johnny Gaudreau because you can go 10% above the cap. And right now, you have 3.4. Johnny Gaudreau, most likely he's going to be getting between $9 and $11 million a year. 9, 11, 12 possibly. Uh, that's probably around 10%, I would say. Everything's talking about Gaudreau. Gaudreau joining us now on TSN according to Pierre LeBrun. That's interesting there. Yeah, like I don't think the Johnny Gaudreau thing is going to happen, like I said, instantly. It's going to be a little bit. EJW says he can see Johnny taking a cheaper deal year to year, but long term is what he wants. Yeah, I know the report coming from out of Calgary from what his agent said is that this is a family based decision. It's not for the money. Who knows? Maybe he could take a a below $10 million deal, maybe a 9.5 annual value or something like that. He's going to get a long term deal regardless of where he goes. Hmm. Anything like seriously? I need Twitter. I need some juicy rumors. That's what I need. That's what NHL free agency is all about. Juicy rumors and juicy details. We need this. We need it here. So honestly, if I'm looking at these Flyers draft picks, why would they be so hesitant to trade a draft pick? I just don't understand. I can understand not trading a draft pick in 2023. I get that because that draft is supposed to be stacked. You have a first round in 2023, two third rounders, two fourth rounders, a fifth, sixth, and seventh. 2024, you have two first rounders, yours and the Florida pick, a third rounder, a fourth rounder, a sixth rounder, a seventh rounder. Seriously, if the 20, if it's the 2023 pick, I don't know. I just don't know. Let's see. Nothing from David Pagnotta. Nothing is done yet between the Capitals and the goaltender Darcy Kemper. Certainly trending that way, but as of the minute, nothing is done yet. Okay. Let's see. Emily Kaplan on ESPN Plus about Johnny Gaudreau. His family is from South Jersey. He wanted to go to the Philadelphia Flyers. He was telling his friends he wanted to go to the Flyers. I don't know what that means. We all know this. We knew this from since he was drafted, basically, that he wanted to play for the Flyers. That is the worst kept secret in the world. That Johnny Gaudreau wants to play for the Flyers because he grew up in South Jersey, 20, 30 minutes away from Philadelphia. He was a Flyers fan growing up, a Phillies fan growing up, a Sixers fan growing up, an Eagles fan growing up. South Jersey is the Philadelphia market, basically. Well, part of the Philadelphia market. So, he grew up a Philadelphia sports fan. He grew up a huge Flyers fan. He wanted to play for the Philadelphia Flyers his entire career. The Flyers cannot pass up this opportunity to miss him. They just can't. They cannot. Johnny Gaudreau himself doesn't make the Flyers into a contender, but it builds a foundation. And for John Tortorella, I haven't talked about John Tortorella yet. John Tortorella here can build structure, change the culture. He can build, maybe he can make the defense better because the defense has been absolute trash for the past couple of years. Granted, yes, you do have Rasmus Ristolainen, not a good defender. Tony DeAngelo, good offensive defenseman. Yeah, not the best defensive defenseman, granted. But he could probably change the defensive structure to make so Carter Hart's life isn't a complete nightmare. That's one thing. Maybe this John Tortorella thing could be a blessing in disguise. I don't. I'm trying to think of things. That's basically it right now because I'm trying to find this. Uh, let's see. David Pagnotta just said, quiet morning for the Dylan Strom camp, but things are starting to pick up on the 25-year-old UFA. Let's see, ESPN Plus, Gucci, everything like that. Let's see. Ryan Ellis, the NASCAR driver, has said Ryan Ellis has been traded to the Washington Capitals. I highly doubt that's true. I think he's just joking. Hearing that the Rangers and Vincent Trocheck have agreed to terms on a 7-year deal. Wow. So Vincent Trocheck, what was he making for the Rangers this year? I know he was a trade deadline pickup, I believe. Trocheck. Where you at? Where are you at? Why is he not with the thing? Where the hell is he at? Why is Trocheck not on the roster? Vincent Trocheck. Vinny Trocheck. Oh, never mind. He was on Carolina last year. That's why he wasn't. Jeez, what was his cap hit last year? Contract. He was making $6.25 million annually. Never mind. The cap hit 4.75 million. I was looking at the base salary. So that's a big signing for the Rangers. Yeah, Emily Kaplan just put it right there. So honestly, that could mean I know the Rangers were hinted about going into the Johnny Gaudreau sweepstakes. I would assume this takes him out of the Johnny Gaudreau sweepstakes, in my honest opinion. What else? I do like I do like that Ryan Ellis, the NASCAR driver, is trying to break news on the Ryan Ellis trade. That's weird though. So Vinny Trocheck, 7-year deal. It's an interesting deal for the Rangers. I want to see their cap space actually. So back to the Rangers. So they have projected cap space at $10 million. They have no contracts that are required to resign this year right now, besides like a Capo Caco. Right now they don't have any pending free agents besides him. So Trocheck, 7-year deal. He was making 4.75. He's probably going to make around between, I would say, 5 and 7. That's what I would assume. He's most likely going to get a pay raise. So that takes away a lot of their cap. Oh yeah, I saw the Devils also hired the former interim coach of the Florida Panthers, Andrew Brunette, as one of their assistants. Signed him to a 3-year deal. So most likely, Lindy Ruff is still the head coach of the Devils. If the Devils get off to another bad start, he's most likely going to be fired, and Brunette's going to be the replacement. That's what basically it's going to be. Let's see. Robert Thomas has signed an 8-year extension for the St. Louis Blues. Andrew Brunette joining the Devils staff. Robert Thomas signs an 8-year, $65 million contract extension with the St. Louis Blues. He had 1 year left on the current contract, so 9 more years of Robert Thomas in St. Louis. It's a good deal for St. Louis. EJW says bringing Johnny makes the Flyers money and gives fans a spark to watch the team. Exactly. Chico in Ottawa means his cup chances are gone. I don't know. Ottawa could be a sneaky team this year. They got Alex DeBrincat. They got Cam Talbot, who's a much better goaltender than what they've had in the past. They have a very young team. They could make some noise to possibly make the playoffs. Cup contender, probably not. The Toronto Maple Leafs signed Nicolas Aube-Kubel to a contract of 1 by 1. Wonder how Flyers fans are going to feel about that. I'm going to send it to my Discord chat talking about the because one of the people in my chat are a Toronto fan. So they saw the Samsonov sign and they like that. Wonder how they're going to feel about this. Yeah, I keep seeing this Flyers Nation tweet about Johnny Gaudreau saying that he wants to play in the Flyers. He's telling his friends he wanted to play for the Flyers, blah, 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 blah. We knew this. We all knew this. Let me make sure. Up here. Oh, here we go. Trocheck signs for 7 years at a $5.625 million annual value with the Rangers, according to a leaked source. This is from Arthur Staple, who is a Rangers reporter for The Athletic. So the Rangers had 10 point something million in cap space. Now they have like between 4 and 5 or something like that after the signing. Nothing on the trade tracker right here. Most likely not. Not expecting anything to happen in that scenario. Free agent signings: Robert Thomas, of course, 8 years, $65 million. Thomas Greiss signed with the St. Louis Blues, so he's going to be a backup to Binnington. Jack Campbell, Manson, basically the thanks there. Someone said Chuck Fletcher is very close to Matt Klentak levels of incompetence. Oh boy. Nothing right here in terms of rumors, but they're going to be circling over the course of the next hours or so. So there's definitely going to be a lot of things to talk about here. Claude Giroux, everyone talking about Claude Giroux still. Jeez. This might, who knows how long this is going to take with this Johnny Gaudreau situation. Because I'm sure he's if he really wants to play he does want to play in Philadelphia that badly. Like, since he wants to play in Philadelphia that badly, I'm sure he's trying to give the Flyers as much time as possible to try and make a move to free up some cap. Right? Like, you don't need right now. You don't need to trade JVR to free up that cap because you can go 10% above the cap. Okay, anything more here? Valdi Kubel, Vincent Trocheck. I'm sure people are saying everyone give up everything to try to get Johnny Gaudreau. Of course, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm just getting updates all over the place. And like that, the late updates from signings that have already happened from ESPN app. Basically everything right there. I need more juicy stuff, Twitter. More juicy. Trocheck, of course. I saw that, of course. There we go. Kaplan. Okay, this is following the Johnny Gaudreau wants to go to the Flyers tweet. Kaplan followed this up with his family's from South Jersey, wanted to go to Philadelphia, telling his friends he wanted to go to Philadelphia, blah, 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 blah. Kaplan then followed up with Chuck Fletcher was working to move JVR's contract. It didn't work out. They didn't like the price in exchange. The ESPN panel was clowning on the Flyers. Kevin Weeks pointed out that the jersey is foaming at the mouth because of Philadelphia's ineptitude. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. There we go. Oh, Andrew Kopp signs in Detroit. 5 years at $5.625 million. Interesting. That's an interesting move right there. A lot of moves, though. It's a lot of money for Andrew Kopp. He played in New York last year. How much was he making last year for the Rangers? Because I know they got him in a trade with the Winnipeg Jets. Andrew Kopp. Andrew Kopp. Let me look at his contract. He was making this season with the Rangers. He was making $3.64 million. Okay, it's not that much of a pay raise for him. He was making a good amount of money. Not that much of a pay raise. Someone said, "Do you think Johnny Gaudreau is just scrolling through Twitter laughing?" Like, seriously, like, if we're going to keep stating this because this is the obvious. If you are stating yourself to the fan base that you are going to go to an aggressive retool means that you're going to try to take risks and make changes to your roster aggressively. You're going to go out and make risks. You're going to, you made a risk with getting Tony DeAngelo. That is a risk. You're going to risk getting Rasmus Ristolainen, and you re-signed him. You're going to be you traded for Ryan Ellis. That was a risk. I know all the aggressive ritual stuff came during this season, so, but you have Johnny Gaudreau for a silver platter because he wants to come to Philadelphia. He wants to play for the Flyers. We all know this. Aggressively retooling means you're going to do everything in your possible mind to try to get him here. Trading James Van Riemsdyk, whatever the cost may be, to get him out of Philadelphia, to get that cap hit out of the Flyers' books. If it required a first-round draft pick, I would have done it because an aggressive retool means you are taking risks, and Johnny Gaudreau is one of the greatest risks you can take because he is a star in this league that wants to play for the Flyers, a local product that wants to play here. You should be doing everything in your possible mind to get rid of JVR. And for the Flyers, not trading James Van Riemsdyk is just like they're really that worried about losing an asset to trade James Van Riemsdyk. When you're trading assets to get, guys rights to get Tony DeAngelo. Like I said, the draft picks, yes, they are a year separated apart from each other, but still, the idea it's 3 draft picks to get Tony DeAngelo. You're afraid to trade an asset to get rid of JVR. You weren't afraid to trade an asset to get rid of Shane Gostisbehere, 2 second-round picks, because no one wanted him. Why are you afraid to trade JVR? Why are you afraid to do that? Because you're completely going away from your philosophy. Even though the philosophy could be flawed, probably is flawed. Your philosophy is aggressive retool. And you should be taking risks. Why are you afraid to trade JVR? Why are you afraid to do that? Because teams are asking for too much? Of course they're going to ask for too much because they know where Johnny Gaudreau wants to go. They know this. Teams around the league knew this. Calgary knew this. Every team in the Western Conference probably knew this. Every team in the Eastern Conference knew this. That his first choice was always going to be Philadelphia. It was going to be somewhere on the East Coast, and Philadelphia was going to be the number 1 choice for Johnny Gaudreau. You knew teams were going to ask for a decent much to get JVR's contract off your books. You knew that was going to happen. You take that risk because this is what you stated in the offseason, that you were going to do this aggressive retool and try to make the team better. Why are you frantic on it now because you don't want to trade an asset to get rid of JVR when you've shown that you were willing to do that in the past? I don't understand that. I really don't understand it. Even though you still can sign Johnny Gaudreau because you can go 10% above the cap. You can do that. But why are you so hesitant right now? Why do you make that move to buy out Oskar Lindblom? Why do you go out to get Tony DeAngelo? Well, Tony DeAngelo because Ryan Ellis can't play. That's obvious. But why do you make that ensuing move to buy out Oskar Lindblom to free up cap space? Why are you struggling so mightily to trade JVR when a team asks, okay, I want this specific pick, I want this. Done. We want this guy off the books because we want to go after Johnny Gaudreau. Why don't you do that? I don't know why Chuck Fletcher is being hesitant. If I'm Comcast, I am down his goddamn throat to do anything to get Johnny Gaudreau here. If I am Dave Scott, who said open checkbook, so that should be anything. Even though you were on a cap, open checkbook means you're willing to sign players. You do anything. You force Chuck Fletcher's job. You go down his throat to get Johnny Gaudreau in Philadelphia. Because not only does it make the team better, it's probably one of the better business strategies that you're probably going to think of in the past few years. And you've had a lot of bad business strategies. Johnny Gaudreau would probably be the best. And all you have to do is sign him. Trocheck. Nothing really going on right here. I know there was like talk from Like, I know Jason Martinez had Tony DeAngelo on the Flyers Daily podcast, and he brought about, trying to attract a bigger name here. And of course, obviously, they were talking about Johnny Gaudreau and Tony DeAngelo. It's obviously him and Kevin Hayes. They're friends with Johnny Gaudreau. They love him. And, all that stuff right there. So, Johnny Gaudreau played with Kevin Hayes at Boston College. Tony DeAngelo probably knows Johnny from being in the South Jersey area. Tony DeAngelo's family from South Philly. Tony DeAngelo was born in South Jersey. Johnny Gaudreau was born in South Jersey. Both grew up Flyers fans. They're friends with Kevin Hayes and all that stuff. There's a lot of connections there. I just don't understand why you're being so frantic on training. I just don't understand. We knew it was all cap, no facts from Chuck Fletcher and Scott. Dave Scott. It's frustrating. It is. It really is. This is Paul Giroux from TSN. I want to bring this up, actually. Bring this up onto the stream. So if I share my screen, go to window, go to you. Can I share the audio? Can I share system audio? Okay, I gotta share the entire screen. Okay, here we go. Twitter. Go. Put that there. I don't mind doing that. I'm trying to make the screen better. I guess we could do this. Yeah, so if we go to Drew here, just hear what he has to say about the Ottawa Senators. Why not?
When they get near the end of the careers, we use the phrase chasing a cup. You went to Florida, had a really good team this year. Can you still chase a cup in Ottawa? You have a 3-year contract there. Are they that far forward that you can see before your time is finished there that they could be a cup contender?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't sign here if I didn't think we had a chance to win the cup. Obviously, I understand that it's a process, and you have to build on a one good season, and you need to have an identity. So, for me coming here, I'm just excited to play with young talent that likes to compete. They have character, and I'm not saying we're going to win the cup this year, but the plan is to build on it and have baby steps for that.
When they get near the end of the
definitely is excited to play in Ottawa, so that wasn't a surprise. Chris Tarian says he'll say this for the 5 pounds time. The Flyers sorting to rebuild. Let's stop with the gaslighting. Sixers Nation saying they're gladly they had Daryl Morey. I'll probably name their faces Sixers. Anything else here? So right now. Is there any more good numbers here? Trocheck was the latest big signing. Same with Andrew Kopp. Yeah, things are extremely quiet right now. I knew there was. It's basically like this with all free agency. A lot of things are going to happen like right from the start. You'll get 2 big signings. They'll go quiet. Maybe you'll get another big signing. You're going to go a couple minutes later, and then quiet for a little bit again. Like I said, this Johnny Gaudreau thing is probably not going to happen instantly. It's not. It's not, because he still has that sole desire to play in Philadelphia. Is that going to overcome what he's doing? I don't know. Oh boy. This is just very, very. It's like it's antsy, it's stressful, it's frustrating, because you know that he wants to come to Philadelphia, and what they're doing right now, it's just like you're so afraid to trade JVR. It just confuses me. It really does. It really confuses me that you're that afraid to trade James Van Riemsdyk. Like, I just don't understand that why. Because why would you stop now with your aggressive virtual approach? Why are you that afraid to trade JVR? I just don't understand. If the draft pick is from the Florida, if the draft pick that they're wanting is the Florida draft pick, why are you so hesitant to trade that? I don't understand why. I'll never understand why. Well, at the end of the day, probably couldn't not be the Florida pick. They probably want something else. Max Domi and Andreas Anavasiu are both signing 1-year, $3 million deals with the Chicago Blackhawks. Interesting. Jesus. Been going for an hour right here. Of course, you're going to be seeing sneezes. EJW says, makes me mad that Johnny looks like he would sell his soul to be a Flyers, and Comcast and management sucks. There's like so much discrepancy within the front office of this team. It's not even funny. People are making jokes about Steve Yzerman and his obsession of drafting Swedish prospects or signing Swedish players. Because it is really quiet here. Coyotes signed Josh Brown. That's not particular. Olimata signs with the Detroit Red Wings. Nicoletti with the Blues. Interesting. Yeah, here's John Clark again talking about the Johnny Gaudreau turning down Calgary's offer. Yeah, the Calgary offer was like 8 years, $10+ million from Calgary, and he turned it down and report because he wanted to come home and play. In the East Coast, it was a family decision, not money. So it's something there. Jonathan says he hopes Chuck Fletcher signs Johnny Gaudreau. Johnny will bring a much needed energy to the team. He believes. You and me both, man. You and me both. And basically, this is what the entire thing is: waiting for Johnny Gaudreau to sign. That's all what it is. Like you're getting these minor signings right now. You saw the Claude Giroux signing. You saw the Jack Campbell signing. You saw some of these other. You saw Trocheck. You saw Thomas re-signing. There really hasn't been any true major signings yet, besides like Claude Giroux and stuff like that, and Jack Campbell. I think those were like the only two major ones, like free agency wise. Robert Thomas was still, he had another year left on his contract, so that wasn't anything like gigantic. I'm just trying to, there's got to be something little one that's taking this long. Someone said they don't understand the Chicago Blackhawks. Another minor signing here. There's really not much going on right now. Like you get those two big splashes at the beginning, 10-minute, 15-minute pass, you get another signing. That's basically what it's going to be again. But also being that maybe it's so quiet right now, maybe that bodes well for the Flyers that Johnny's giving them enough time or something like that. Because I know that's one of the reports that Gaudreau's giving the Flyers as much time as possible. Clear cap. Darren Drager again talking about Kadri. I know some people want Kadri here. Kadri's a good player. Like, don't get me wrong. Kadri's on the wrong side of 30. I think giving him a long-term contract would be a mistake, in my honest opinion. Even though the injury last year was the injury in the Stanley Cup playoffs last year was a hand injury, even though he did come back from the finals. But I just feel like it's not saying Kadri isn't a bad player. It's not like Nazem Kadri right now. Nazem Kadri. I look at just basically where he is right now. He's 31 years old. He's going to be turning 32 in October. looking at his career, not saying he's a bad player or not. He's a really good player. Last year was his career year. Put up 87 points, 28 goals, 59 assists in Colorado. Year previously in the COVID short season, 32 points. 2019-20, 36 points, 44 points, 55 points. So really, Nazem Kadri, like, voting his career high in points, he's really like a 50, 60 point type of guy. That's what I see. I still rather get Johnny, in my honest opinion. People are retweeting old signings that they're just seeing now, I guess. Soto says Chuck and Scott really don't want fans to be happy. I just don't understand Chuck Fletcher mindset. Like, if Paul Holmgren, Bobby Clark are in this decision process, wouldn't you think they would factor into this as well? They'd be down Chuck's throat to try to get Gaudreau here and do anything possible. Because there also have been reports that the front office doesn't trust Chuck Fletcher. Something right there. Yet again. I just want some good, juicy rumors. That's all I want. Basically, all I want. Just want something good to talk about here. Someone said Chuck will finally get in the game and sign a to a 2-year, two-way deal, and some of you will be lining up to lick his talent. Yeah, oh my god. God damn it. God damn it. There's a fake source out there. There's a fake Elliot Friedman. Fake Elliot Friedman out there. Don't fall for it. There's a fake Elliot Friedman on Twitter. He has the same, basically. Oh man, that's actually funny. The fake Elliot Friedman says Johnny Gaudreau to the Flyers for 7 years, $9.5 million annually. I want to see how many people fall for this. Oh, here we go. Elliot Friedman, actually. This is not the actual Elliot Friedman. This is not in regards to Johnny Gaudreau. It sounds like Brett Burns to Carolina is a done deal. So San Jose is trading Brett Burns to the Carolina Hurricanes. So we just got to see what happens there. We got to see what the details are on that trade. I'm assuming it's not updated on the team. No, it's not. We just got to find out for the full details here. Yep, Carolina has officially acquired Brett Burns. Okay. Oh, here we go. This is from Pierre LeBrun. The Sharks Hurricane trade Brett Burns and Lane Pedersen for Steven Lorentz, goalie prospect E2 McIntyre or McInerney, and a conditional 2023 third round pick. Sharks are retaining 33% of Burns' contract. Okay, seriously, Chuck Fletcher cannot move JVR's contract. Seriously. The Canucks have signed forward Ilya Mikheyev to a 4-year contract. Interesting. I need to block that fake Elliot Friedman account. I gotta block it just so I don't fall for it. If anything else pops music, mute that freaking account. Anything else? Trade tracker, and now it's probably up to on TSM. No, that's not. Wow, surprised. Okay, Hockey Buzz just put a rumor out there that Bobrovsky could be on the move. No, I don't believe that whatsoever. Ilya Mikheyev is a Canuck, 4 years at $4.75 million this season. Yeah, everyone's talking about the Brett Burns trade right now. Kevin Weeks just said he's told that the Rangers are making traction on a potential deal with Yaroslav Halak. So I'm assuming that's a backup goaltender for Igor Shesterkin. Makes sense. They need a backup. They just traded Georgiev. There we go. Yaro Halak has signed with the New York Rangers to back up Igor Shesterkin, a deal around $1.55 million. Makes sense. That makes sense for him. We need some breaking news. We need more breaking news here, man. We need more. We need juice. Because now we are almost an hour past the trade deadline. Not the trade. Why am I saying the trade deadline? We're an hour in the free agency period opening. Gotta be some more stuff here. Gotta be some more. Bob McKenzie says one crazy thing he heard this morning is to watch out for Columbus. They want to do something big, want to make a splash. McKenzie alluded to perhaps a Line A trade being possible as well. Interesting. That is interesting. McKenzie says one crazy thing. Okay, that's the same thing I just read. Jesse Pollock just said, "Well, if you can't win the Stanley Cup, just sign the guy who broke the Stanley Cup." That's Nicholas. That's regards to Nicholas Aube-Kubel with the Maple Leafs. Because remember anyone see that with when the Avalanche won the cup and Aube-Kubel fell and broke the cup? The Avalanche were very destructive with that Stanley Cup during their celebration. They were, even though it was easy for them to, it's easy for the NHL to fix it. It's like no big deal there. I'm sure they're like, guys, you really gotta break it. It's kind of fun. Yeah, like I said, this Johnny Gaudreau thing is probably not gonna, Oh wait, give me a second to everyone. Sorry about that. That was someone calling me asking about dinner. It's nothing in regards to rumors or anything like that. No sources. It was just family talking about dinner. Oh boy. Hmm. There's still nothing really going on yet. It's really quiet. It's really, really quiet. Soto says trade Chuck. If only that were possible. Only that possible. Here we go. Here comes from Anthony Sanfilippo. It looks like the dream is over for Flyers fans for Johnny Gaudreau. Flyers will pivot elsewhere, and it will likely be much more underwhelming than fans hope. They've checked in on Kadri, but so are a lot of teams, and I don't think that's a contract that would make sense. Chuck Fletcher. Elliot Friedman says hearing Ben Sherratt and Detroit are closing in. If what Sanfilippo said is true, I'm very mad. Very mad. More sucking it's going to be. Yeah. If that report from Sanfilippo is true, I'm going to be very pissed. Very pissed. It sounds like Ben Sherratt's going to the Detroit Red Wings, making a lot of signings. He signed Kopp, now he's getting Sherratt. Charlie O'Connor said the fact that Carolina was willing to take on 3 more seasons of 37-year-old Brett Burns at $5.28 million per year, but weren't willing to give Tony DeAngelo the $5 million per that he wanted says something. Well, I think the Broad Street hockey guys just really hate Tony DeAngelo. Last off, Mestikov is signing in Tampa. Black with the Rangers. They just said the Flyers are out on Johnny Gaudreau on ESPN Plus. If the fans actually don't rebel, then nothing will. This team is a goddamn nightmare. Anaheim signs Frank for Toronto at 3 years, $3.65 million. Scott said better late than never. Yeah, you might have joined at a bad time, Scott. You might have joined at a bad time. Because it sounds like the Flyers are out on Johnny Gaudreau. There's nothing big yet right now. The next tweet from the Flyers is going to be an all-out war. Someone just said. Yeah. If this turns out to be true that they're actually out on Johnny, yeah, Flyers fans are going to be major pissed. You're going to be seeing no one in the stands next year. Johnny was a chance for you to bring some sort of a fan base back. And from what it sounds like, you don't. Because if that's the case, I don't know the direction this team is. I just don't. They're that afraid to trade JVR. They're not afraid to give up another asset. And they've been giving up assets basically for the past year and a half. What it looks like. They're just that afraid. Why are they stopping now? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Even though there's like no official report on it. Frank Cervelli says lots of rumblings that John Klingberg and the Dallas Stars have re-engaged. Not confirmed, not done, but it makes sense with Dallas missing out on Brett Burns. Let's see where this goes. Makes sense. It just makes no sense. Because if you don't sign Johnny Gaudreau and you make other signings that are very underwhelming, like another depth forward, another depth defenseman, all this other stuff, a backup goaltender, you're not winning the fans back at all. Johnny Gaudreau was a chance to win some of the fan base back, to get people in the stands. And you are afraid to do that for some odd reason. I just don't understand. Because you were that afraid to trade JVR's contract. I just don't understand why. Why buy out Oskar Lindblom? Why do that? What was the point? I don't understand the point of buying out Lindblom. Because Lindblom was a starting ground to make cap room to get Johnny. And now you are absolutely downright afraid to give up an asset to trade JVR's contract away to get his cap off the books so you have more room to sign Johnny. It makes no sense. It just makes no sense whatsoever, this team, if that is the case. Warriors re-signed Kulak. Pierre LeBrun just said, not quite a done deal yet, but looking like Mason Marchment to the Carolina Hurricanes on a 4-year deal is getting finalized. No, from David Pagnotta, Mikhail Sergachev signs an 8-year extension with the Lightning. Interesting, man. I'm just really disappointed now. I really am. If that report from Anthony Sanfilippo becomes true. Because if you don't sign Johnny, you're asking for another year of mediocrity. You just are. Because your franchise doesn't want to rebuild. They don't. That's obvious on the case. They're not going to rebuild. That's just not going to happen. But then you're afraid to take steps to try to make your team better. You sign Tony DeAngelo, you trade those stuff away to get his rights. You sign it. You buy it Oskar Lindblom, and then you don't do anything else. What was the point? I just don't understand the point of buying out Oskar Lindblom, and why are you so afraid to trade JVR? Why are they so afraid to attach something to trade JVR? You've been doing it for the past year and a half. You attached things to get rid of Shane Gostisbehere. You didn't see a problem in it back then. Why is it a problem now with JVR's trying to get traded. You should have known this going from the books that teams were going to try to screw you over in a trade for JVR. Hell, you can still sign Johnny and go 10% above the cap and then worry about JVR later. It just doesn't make sense. It does not make sense at all. Why would you back down now when a guy that clearly wants to play in Philadelphia just doesn't look like you're going to sign him? I just don't understand the direction of this team. I don't understand it at all. I just don't understand this team's direction at all. I really don't. They tell you one thing, and then they start doing that thing, and then they go in a whole different direction because they are afraid to make a move. They are. They look afraid. Because signing Johnny Gaudreau would mean so much to your franchise. It would. I'm not saying it's going to be, the saving grace of the franchise. It's not going to instantly make them a Stanley Cup contender. It brings the fans back. It does. Ed Snyder would never lose. Yeah, Ed Snyder wouldn't have lost out on getting Johnny Gaudreau here. Buying out Oskar and seeing nothing right now tells me the Flyers have a hole in the lineup because Oskar provides steady and third line two-way hockey. I mean, what is the point of buying out Lindblom if you're not going to make those other moves? Because you're that afraid to freaking trade JVR. You're that afraid. When you should be committed to the bit that you're aggressive for the retooling. It just doesn't make sense. It does not make sense at all. And Mackenzie also says Anthony Cirelli is expected to get extended today as well. Will be an 8-year deal, well over $6 million for Cirelli. Tampa Bay signing their young players. Makes sense. The Sergachev deal is 8 years, $8.5 million for him. Makes sense for that. I just don't understand the people that are there, because there are definitely some people out there that are saying that trading for Johnny Gaudreau is stupid. Johnny Gaudreau's not like shut up. David says Flyers need to make this happen. Looks like the Isles and Devils are the front runners. Yeah, but the reports I'm hearing that I just saw from Anthony Sanfilippo sounds like the Flyers are out of it. I don't know if that's true, but seriously, when a guy that is been wanting to play here his entire career, and you are that stingy to make a move to get him because you're afraid to attach an asset to trade away JVR's contract. When you were so willing to do that with Shane Gostisbehere, you were willing to do that with anyone else. You traded a lot of assets to get Rasmus Ristolainen. Why are you having second thoughts now? Yep. TSN confirms that Johnny Gaudreau's sweepstakes are down to the Devils and the Islanders. The technical term they used at the insider desk was front runners. They didn't mention Philadelphia at all, although the others have reported the Flyers can't make the cap situation work. Just wanted to clarify that. Oh, there you go. Darren Drager just says, never close the door, confirming John Klingberg and the Dallas Stars are talking extensions again. Makes sense, since they missed out on Brett Burns. more I read over here, the more it doesn't sound like Johnny's coming to Philadelphia. It just doesn't, unless something very surprising happens at the last second. I don't know. How much longer will this stream go? I have no idea. Here we go. This is from Elliot Friedman yesterday. All eyes are on New Jersey and Philadelphia for Johnny Gaudreau. The Flyers have indicated JVR will not be traded because they are not willing to pay what will cost them the cap hit. One source indicated that it was similar to what Toronto sent Carolina, a first-round draft pick for the Hurricanes to take Patrick Marleau in 2019. Teams prefer Philadelphia's 2023 draft pick, not the Florida selection acquired from Claude Giroux. Assuming the Flyers stick to that philosophy, it's hard to see a path for Johnny Gaudreau bearing another major move. If they're in, they're slowly playing this hand. They're also believed to have interest in Dylan Strome. If you don't sign Johnny Gaudreau and you sign Dylan Strome, that is a major letdown. Because what is Dylan Strome? A bust, in my honest opinion. Look at Dylan Strome. He's 25 years old. He was a third overall pick in 2015 from the Arizona Coyotes. Last year for Colorado, he had 48 points in 69 games, 22 goals, 26 assists. His entire career in 273 games played, he has 170 points, 67 goals, 130 assists. So last year, like I said, 48 points. The COVID-shortened season, he had 17 points. These are his 4 years with Chicago. In 2019-20, he had 38 points. And in 2018-19, he had 51 points. What I'm seeing right here, 2018-2019, 58 games played. 2019-20, obviously because of the COVID-shortened season, 58 games played. 2021, he had 40 games played. Last year, only 69. So that shows he can't play a full season. His first year in Arizona, 7 games played, 1 point. Second year in Arizona, 21 games played, 9 points. I'm assuming that's when he's like sent back and forth between the AHL. 18-19 before he was traded to Chicago, 20 games played and 6 points. I'm really excited for Dylan Strome if that's the case. Just saying. This is captain. His contract last year was a $3 million cap hit with the Chicago Blackhawks. Anthony Cirelli resigns with Tampa Bay, 8 years, $6.25 million annually. Makes sense. I'm just going to come back. Doesn't look like it. BJW, a little more years of below average Flyers play, and Comcast making money. Sounds like it. Sounds like a lot. Hockey Buzz says Jersey and the Islanders are the front runners for Johnny Gaudreau. Eklund says he's not fine. The Flyers are out of it yet. He thinks there's a reason why a deal has not happened yet. Gaudreau is allowing the Flyers time to try and still work this out. Like I said, this entire thing is going to go for a while. I don't think Gaudreau's going to sign instantly, but it's still being skeptical as the time passes. As Sam Carchidi just said, asked an NHL source close to the Flyers situation about a possibility of signing Gaudreau or Kadri. The source says no cap space for either of these guys. Will that change? David Pagnotta says Devils and the Islanders are in a battle for Johnny Gaudreau? Might be down to them unless someone jumps back in last minute. Is he putting the Flyers there? Any other rumors for the Flyers? No, currently not right now. Right now, I think this Johnny Gaudreau stuff's going to last on a long while longer because who knows if he is still giving the Flyers time to find ways to get a trade happening. But right now, I'm getting skeptical as the Nets pass. But who knows? I don't think this is. It's probably going to have. Probably going to let Chernak resign in Tampa Bay for 8 years. Geez, they're extending a lot of guys to 8-year deals. That's what happens when you win 2 Stanley Cups in a row and go to 3 straight finals. I just don't understand how they're afraid to go over the cap. Because technically, yes, you do have the cap to get Johnny Gaudreau. You can go 10% with the cap and then make moves when you sign Johnny. Basically what it is. It seems Johnny is trying to be a Flyer and the Flyers aren't trying to get him. That's what it sounds like. Because it still sounds like he's given the Flyers as much time as possible to figure shit out. But like I said, I'm getting skeptical as the minutes pass. Because that's what it's looking like right now. Yep. A random podcast account said that Johnny Gaudreau and the Devils are close to being done. Yeah. If someone just posted right here, Fletcher is unwilling to part with JVR and a first-round pick, effectively making Johnny Gaudreau unattainable. A GM willing to acquire a superstar who wants to be here, or a GM unwilling to acquire a superstar who wants to be here is likely fired by any other NHL franchise. Unacceptable. Yeah, if the Flyers and Comcast are somehow fine with this, that is a huge issue. That is a huge issue. Sam Carchidi just said that as it stands now, who will be the Flyers' biggest drawing card this season? John Tortorella? If it's your head coach, that's sad. As much as I like John Tortorella, your head coach can't be the biggest drawing factor. That's just sad. It's really sad. Really, really, really sad. Hang on, guys. I'm going to be right back. I want to refill my water bottle because it's almost empty. So I will be right back in like 2 minutes. And I'm back. Did I miss anything? Probably not. Probably not. Let's refresh the Twitter. 19 tweets. Edmonton makes it official with Jack Campbell. Brendan Brendan re-signs with the Kings. And now we got a source from Eklund. Take this with a grain of salt because Eklund's most likely never right. His source on Hockey Buzz says Flyers could move Provorov soon. Told told the team may be moving in another direction. What does that mean? Did you just like completely change on if that's what he's hearing, they're moving in another direction. You're like, we don't want to aggressively retool anymore. We don't want to do that. We want to blow it up. We don't want to do this. We don't want to go after Johnny Gaudreau. We want to blow it up. We want to suck. Oh boy. Oh boy. I doubt it's true though. It's not like it's happening right now. Just doesn't. Yeah, so far, basically the last things that have happened, um, just the re-signings in Tampa Bay. That's really it. There's not been anything big in a little bit. Just trying to figure this stuff out. Nothing going on right here, but you back with the Kings. We already mentioned that. Now Eklund's saying Montreal has interest in Ivan Provorov. I don't think I'm a grain of salt. I'm going to keep this stream up if that's the case because he just posted it on Twitter too. Justin says, any chance Johnny takes a hometown discount? Well, he didn't sign in Calgary for 8 years at 10+ million. It wasn't about the money. He wanted to be closer to home. So that kind of shows you, yes, he's willing. It's the fact that Justin, I don't think he's going to take 8 mil. I think 9.5, between 9.5 and 12 is what he's going to get. I don't think he's going to touch 12. He might get between 9.5 and 10.5. That's what I'm assuming. Egypt, if this is the case, what would you want to return for Provorov? Truckload. Provorov is a defenseman in this league that can play top minutes. He's been listed as he's like one of the top defenders and playing the most minutes per game. And he's still very young to where he can live up to his potential. You would have to give the Flyers a ton in return for Ivan Provorov. Ton in return. Four picks in return with a first round attached. Who knows? Who knows? You would have to involve a pick for next year. The 2023 pick. Russ Joy and Anthony Sanfilippo, host of the Snow the Goalie podcast, are going back and forth. Interesting. That's the thing. Excellent is the only one that's reporting about this Provorov thing. So that's why I'm being skeptical about it, because he's the only one that's reporting it. Someone just tweeted, is the next Snow the Goalie episode just going to be Anthony strangling Russ? It's like it's Homer strangles Bart Simpson. Offer Johnny 8.5 with stock options, and you can't offer him an 8-year deal because of the new rules with the NHL. Only teams that own his rights can offer him 8 years, and Calgary doesn't own his rights anymore since he's a free agent, so they can't even offer him 8 years. So the highest you can offer a free agent is 7. Who's going to play with York if he's still in the third pair? That's a question mark. Right now, your defense is Ivan Provorov, bearing if this rumor about him in Montreal is true, which I'm still very skeptical about. Tony DeAngelo, Travis Sanheim, who's on the last year of his contract, Rasmus Ristolainen, Cam York, it's 5. I know Ronnie Attard is in the mix there, so who knows if he even makes the roster. Still have you re-sign Nick Steeler to a very league minimum contract for 2 years. So it's a lot of question marks there. There's no bona fide pairing for Cam York right now, unless they force him into the top pairing role. I have no idea. If Provorov stays, I think York could be the guy for Provorov. I would think so too, but with DeAngelo signing, I think he's going to be playing top minutes with Provorov if that's the case. That's what I'm assuming. I don't think Tony DeAngelo was a top pairing defenseman. I don't think he's as bad as what people say, but I think he's more of a top 4 guy, a second pairing guy, not a first pairing guy. He can quarterback a power play. That's what he's known for. And now some Flyers fans are seeing the report from Eklund about Provorov. But still, take it with a grain of salt. Eklund stuff sometimes doesn't come true. It's funny for as many people that don't believe Eklund, he has a following. He has over 125,000 followers on Twitter. Like, seriously, you just need to find a way to get Johnny Gaudreau into Philadelphia. I know the people on Hockey Buzz, they're still skeptical about the whole Gaudreau situation. They don't think Philadelphia's out of it. But right now, you just gotta wait and see. Johnny becomes a Saint offer. Johnny becomes the Saint offer some of his contract to buy out JVR. Mike Morale for NHL.com says the fourth period just offered on NHL Network that Johnny Gaudreau sweepstakes is leaning in New Jersey's direction unless the Islanders can step in a little bit more. This was 3 minutes ago. TSN just said Johnny grew up a Devils fan. That is not true. That is not true at all. Just because he was born in New Jersey doesn't mean he's a Devils fan. South Jersey is the Philadelphia market. People don't realize this, especially Canadians. Just saying. Yeah, same. Yeah, same. Oh, here we go. David Pagnota, Capitals and Kepler are done. 5-year deal worth $5.25 million. So did he just get the same deal as Campbell or a little bit more? Campbell. Jack Campbell, where are you at? Yeah, you got a couple more mil. You got a couple more thousand, but basically the same exact deal. Jack, Darcy Kemper, 5 years, $26.25 million goal years, and Washington gets their goaltender. Interesting move for Washington. Yeah, the Devils are within the range of Johnny Gaudreau, close to home. Yeah, they are. But people saying that Johnny Gaudreau is a Devils fan, that's not true. You grew up a Philadelphia fan. There's literally a picture of him during one of his games in Calgary going into the locker room where he has an Eagles jersey above his suit. That was during the time of the Super Bowl. Yeah, the thing with Eklund right here is he's the only one that's reporting on this. So, like I said, take him with a grain of salt. If this is a family move, the Devils will be his second choice. Yeah, probably. Who knows now? Who knows? Darren Drager just posted, as we described, Kadri and his representative continue to work through the presentations this afternoon. Colorado is still in the mix. No guarantee a decision will be made today on Kadri. Oh boy. Has anyone tried unplugging Chuck Fletcher and plugging him back in? Flyers fans are going crazy, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. Kemper finalized. It's obvious that he was going to Washington. They've been linked to him. That's why they got rid of both the goaltenders. We knew they were going to be a player for Campbell or Kemper. So Anthony DeMarco says, while I do think the Flyers will make some kind of move today, TBH, I don't think they know exactly what. The last update he got was things are very quiet. Goes without saying that things can change quickly. Oh boy. Seriously, we haven't heard anything from the Flyers front. No, it just happened. NHL Rumors Daily says, think the Rangers and Arizona were talking about a minor deal, potential cap dump. Let's see where this goes. He retweeted that saying, bang, bang, NRD gang. I know what that means. Need more stuff. Need more things to talk about here. Come on, Twitter. I need more news. More news. Basically, right now, all Flyers Twitter is in like agreement hating Chuck Fletcher, which is basically every day. But it seems like everyone's agreeing now, which is kind of shocking. There's always like a back and forth between Flyers Twitter and everything, but it sounds like right now everyone's in agreement. Someone said Nicolas Aube-Kubel was so traumatized by denting the Stanley Cup that he decided to sign somewhere he'd never have to touch it. It's a joke on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Senators make the Drew deal official. Can't wait to see another Flyers season of Jerry Mayhew's of the world. Just can't wait. Someone said he wants to bet on the Flyers having the worst record in the league and ending up with the third pick because that is 100% what's going on. Someone said, who is left other than Gaudreau, Gaudreau, or Klingberg? Yeah, there's really not that much left in the market. That was it. Why not? Most of the free agents are Trocheck signed, Kopp signed, Kemper signed, Campbell signed, Giroux signed, McKay signed. I think Nicoletti did. Kulak did. Toronto signed. Conway's signed, 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 signed. There's really not that many names left in the market. Regardless. right now. I don't know how much longer this stream can last without, nothing really big happening. So I don't expect Johnny to sign in the next anything at this point. I really don't. Well, if there's anything else that happens in regards to today, I'll keep you guys updated. I'm not going to stream for that long. I'm probably going to end this off right now. We've gone for like 2 hours and 15 minutes. We've seen some big signings today. We'll see what happens at the end. If Gaudreau does end with the Flyers, I am very skeptical that it's probably not going to happen, and it's going to be a big disappointment. So we basically just got to see what happens. So I thank you, everyone here, for joining the live feed, hanging out here for the past couple of hours for this free agency opening up. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. I like to read it as always. Do not forget to drop a like on the video. Do not forget to check out everything in the description below. I recommended everything, BrodesMedia to pay the line, stuff like that. I also recommend hitting the subscribe button and also using the code TTPSPORTS, $20 off your first purchase at SEATGEEK. And I will see you guys next time. We'll be doing a Phillies recap later tonight, so I'll see you then.